Could Derrick Henry be on his way to Baltimore to join the Baltimore Ravens in 2024? Welcome in to this edition of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Bleacher Report has named Baltimore as the ideal landing spot for the Tennessee Titans running back, who's expected to hit free agency here within just a matter of weeks. And we know the rumblings about this Baltimore Ravens team over really the last couple of years of trying to find help in that running back room. Keaton Mitchell was a nice spark this year, but ultimately he got injured. J.K. Dobbins had a season-ending injury week 1. So what about bringing in a powerhouse playmaker like Derrick Henry, one of, if not the best running backs in his generation? We'll dive into it and discuss the possibility and show you what Bleacher Report had to say in just a moment. Quick question, though. I want to know, Flock, I got some friends headed to Baltimore for the first time this weekend, and they love to eat pizza. In fact, they just take it one bite at a time and give it a little score. And so if you can help my buddies out, they want to know where they should go grab some pizza this weekend. Let me know. I'll pass the word along, and we'll see what best answers we get here in the comment section on today's show. Let's begin with this from Bleacher Report on the idea of Derrick Henry and Baltimore. Derrick Henry has arrived at a fork in the road of his career, given that he's earned more than $56 million as an NFL player. Landing a high-end salary might not be Henry's primary goal. He'll want to be fairly compensated, sure, but a chance to compete for a Super Bowl may supersede a desire to further pad his bank account. If that indeed is the case, the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs would be two appealing low-budget destinations. Dallas may fall in love with Henry's name value and hope a solid offensive line boosts the 30-year-old close to his exiting his prime. Green Bay fits a smaller mold, especially if Aaron Jones takes another pay cut. Cautiously expect Henry around $5 to $6 million range that fluctuates based on where the team sits on the competitiveness scale. Now, if Derrick Henry is willing to take a discount, then this makes a ton of sense for the Baltimore Ravens. And here's the bottom line. When you look at this Baltimore Ravens team heading into next year, there will be changes when it comes to this running back position, that we will see this backfield change a lot from what it is right now. Think about this, okay? J.K. Dobbins is a free agent. He's not coming back. Hell no. You're not bringing him back, all the injuries he's endured. And quite frankly, I didn't like J.K.'s attitude going into this year, begging to get paid and all that when he hadn't proven that he was worth getting paid. Then you got Keaton Mitchell under contract, coming off a very good rookie campaign. Did get injured, missed the last portion of the season, but a lot of optimism about him. He's probably your RB1 right now, if we're going to be frank. Gus Edwards is a free agent, although there's a possibility Gus could come back. Justice Hill under contract. Dalvin Cook, a free agent after 2 playoff games. And then there's Patrick Ricard, your Pro Bowl fullback, under contract. He should be back next year. So with that said, there is an opening. There is an opportunity for a guy like Derrick Henry. And at a discount, you have me intrigued. I am very interested in this idea. You can't pay him top dollar. But if he's willing to take less, Baltimore can make a lot of sense. What do you guys think? Should the Ravens sign Derrick Henry? Why for yes and for no? Our pinned comment today. Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, fantasy points, and more. You can mix and match different leagues, the NFL, NBA, NHL, and more. This week on Prize Picks, ahead of the big game, I got Patrick Mahomes to have more than half a passing yard. I feel pretty good about those chances. I got Isaiah Pacheco to have more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. And then Christian McCaffrey to have more than 35.5 receiving yards. If all 3 of these hit, we put $20 down. We're making $100 on Prize Picks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Glad to have them on board for today's show. Now, here's the deal when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens and Derrick Henry as far as thinking about this long term, right? it isn't a long-term solution. And that, quite frankly, is okay, if we're going to be honest with you. You look at what Derrick Henry showed in 2023. There's still something left in the tank that he has to offer. I'm looking at this as kind of like a 1 or 2 year rental of some sorts. Think about, you tried it with Dalvin Cook this past year for those 2 playoff games. It didn't necessarily work out, and he didn't get much playing time. But why not with Derrick Henry? For a guy that's coming off a Pro Bowl campaign that as recently as 2020 led the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, it was NFL Offensive Player of the Year. To me, it takes a ton of sense, and there is a void to be filled when you look at this Ravens run game. I mean, the statistics. I mean, let's start with Derrick Henry first, right? I mean, he's been nothing but consistent, right? Even this past year with everything that went on, right? His last hoorah in Tennessee and knowing that he was going to move on and saying goodbye to everything. Still averaged 4.2 yards a carry. Even at 29 years old and all that, he still had a terrific season with over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Now, you throw him into this Ravens rushing attack, and sorry, Gus, I'm giving him more playing time than Gus Edwards. I'm giving him more playing time than Justice Hill or Melvin Gordon. He and Keaton Mitchell together, now you're all of a sudden cooking with bacon grease. You got, the thunder, if you will, and Derrick Henry, and the lightning with Keaton Mitchell. Now you're talking about potentially having one of the best backfields in football. Who's the player the Ravens should sign this offseason? We're talking Derrick Henry today, but obviously there's a lot of different options out there. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know who the Ravens should add here in 2024. We are your Ravens offseason headquarters. Whenever the Ravens make a move, whether it's in free agency or a trade, draft, whatever it is, we're going to talk about it here on the channel. Help us reach our next milestone, 15.5K subs. We're less than 300 away from reaching that next milestone. Subscribe now for the latest happenings on your Baltimore Ravens. We got you covered here on the channel. Now, let's be frank about this. I hate that this has to be said, but it needs to be said. If you sign Derrick Henry, you better run the ball more than 8 times with your running back in a single game. Todd Monken, I love you, but I'm looking at you. I am looking directly at you. You don't invest in the running back position for it to be ignored. And I think that what we saw from this Ravens team, you go back to that playoff game, getting away from what got you there, your identity, right? You're still a run-first football team. And although Lamar's coming off an MVP season where he played very well, the future of this Ravens team, for this group to be successful, whether they add in Derrick Henry, another running back out there, the mindset should still be we are still going to be a run-first football team no matter what. And if you add in a guy like Derrick Henry, not only are you getting a good football player, obviously, you're getting a guy that's hungry. He was on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast recently with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. And this is what he said about his future. I want to win a Super Bowl. I ain't done playing. I ain't even close to done playing. Henry can be the difference. Think back to the AFC Championship a couple weeks ago. Do the Ravens win that game if they have Derrick Henry in the fold? I don't know for certain, but it's a closer game. It's more interesting if you get Derrick Henry and you can run the football. I can tell you that much. Him and Mitchell together, sign me up. You have me sold. And then that alleviates the pressure from Lamar Jackson where he hasn't having to run the football as much. We saw Lamar kind of cut back on the running attempts for much of this season and depend more on his running backs. And for the most part, and it worked out until it didn't work out in the AFC Championship. To me, this would be a win-win for Baltimore. What are the chances the Ravens sign Derrick Henry? I think they got to be at least one of the favorites right now. I would put this upwards of 40, 50%. So I'm putting like a 4 or 5. I think there's a pretty decent shot this happens. What are the chances this happens? Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comment section. Let us know what you think the likelihood is. Man, it'd be fun. I can tell you that much. It'd be a lot of fun if Derrick Henry joined this Baltimore Ravens team. We're going to be talking a lot of Derrick Henry. I can promise you that much. We'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.